Yo, what's going on, Headliner Nation? It's the Doc, and we're back, baby. Week 1 is upon us, which means we got a lot of injuries to break down. For anybody new to the show, this is where an actual doctor tells you about all the NFL news and injuries that you need to know about for your fantasy team. Each and every week, we go through the whole NFL slate. I give you which guys I think are going to play, which guys are not going to play, and when I think guys that are hurt are going to be coming back. So this is your one-stop shop on YouTube for any NFL injury that you need to know about each and every week of the NFL season. But let's stop talking and let's get into these injuries, baby, because there's a lot of them. All right, the first game we're going to be talking about is Thursday Night Football. And I know the game already happened, but I'm going to get a lot of questions about Travis Kelce. And to be honest, I'm not crazy worried about this yet. He hyperextended his knee on Tuesday, only had 2 days to make a quick recovery, wasn't able to do it. But luckily, ligaments all checked out. There's no major damage, but he does have a bone bruise. Now, he did try to make a push to play in that Thursday night game. They tested out in a pool that morning to kind of take the weight off of the knee, see how he performed from a force production standpoint in the pool. Didn't pass the test. They decided they've got more things to play for than week 1. And I expect after about 10 days to rest, I think that we could see Travis Kelce come back as soon as week 2, but we're going to keep you monitored on this one. Now, moving on to the early Sunday games, there's a lot of them. First up, we got the Panthers at the Falcons. Panthers dealing with some wide receiver injury issues right now. They've got Terrace Marshall dealing with a back strain. He's been limited on Wednesday and Thursday. I do expect him to play, but I'd like to see him a little bit healthier. Wide receiver DJ Chark has a hamstring strain. This one I'm a little bit more concerned about. Didn't practice Wednesday, didn't practice Thursday. I don't think we should expect to see DJ Chark in this game. As for wide receiver Adam Thielen, he's dealing with an ankle sprain, was limited Wednesday, but then downgraded to a DNP on Thursday. Very concerned that he will not be able to suit up in this first game. I'm staying away from the Panthers, except for Hayden Hurst. I think he could have a big game with all these wide receivers being banged up. Now, as for the Falcons, running back Cordero Patterson's got a thigh injury. He was limited on Wednesday and Thursday. I expect him to suit up, but let's be honest, it's the Bijan Robinson show for the Falcons. Moving on to the Texans at the Ravens. Texans wide receiver John Mechie dealing with a hamstring strain. Has not practiced yet this week. It looks like we're going to have to wait another week for Mechie. I do look forward to seeing how Tank Dell does in this offense, and I think he should have a good volume game with John Mechie out. I think Nico Collins is a solid flex starter if you need a third or fourth wide receiver in your fantasy lineups. As for the Ravens, they've got tight end issues as well. Mark Andrews dealing with a quad injury, was limited on Wednesday and Thursday. He said, God willing, he will be able to start on Sunday. I have a lot of faith. I'm going to hope that he's right and that Mark Andrews will play, but just keep an eye on that one, because if this doesn't go well, we could have a very similar situation to what we had with Kelce, where it's a game time decision. Odell Beckham Jr., not listed on the injury report on Wednesday, showed up limited on Thursday with an ankle sprain. We know that Odell has a history of injuries, so we're definitely keeping an eye on that one as well, but I do expect him to play. Now, moving on to the Bengals at the Browns, Joe Burrow coming off basically missing the entire preseason with a calf strain. He's at 100%, just got a big fat contract. He's going to be playing week 1. Good news for the Bengals. As for the Browns, they don't really have any injury issues, so we're just going to move right on to the Jaguars at the Colts. Now, Jags, not really much to worry about. No major injuries yet. Colts do have running back Zach Moss trying to come back from a broken arm. He was limited on Wednesday. I expect him to play, but Deion Jackson's going to get the start. He's going to be the guy you want to throw into your flex if you absolutely have to. Now, we're going to look at the Buccaneers at the Vikings. Bucks and Vikings, both pretty healthy, so we're not really going to spend a whole lot of time on this game. These guys should both be healthy, and I don't have any issues with any players playing in this game. Go ahead and start them all. Now, moving on to the Titans at the Saints. Titans don't have much to talk about, but the Saints running back situation is going to be interesting. Now, remember, no Alvin Kamara for the first 3 games. The backup was supposed to be rookie Kendre Miller. He's dealing with a hamstring strain, has not practiced at all this week. Very unlikely to see him play. So with no Alvin Kamara, no Kendre Miller, I'm going to be hammering a ton of hires for Jamal Williams this week on our friends at Underdog Fantasy. Head on over to Underdog, use the code Headliners, get a free deposit match up to your first $100 deposited, and make some money with the Headliners this year. Slam the hires for Jamal Williams. He's going to get a lot of run in this Saints-Titans matchup. Now, probably my favorite game of the early slate, we got the 49ers at the Steelers, and this game is just marquee all over the place. The 49ers have tight end George Kittle dealing with a groin strain. He's been limited Wednesday and Thursday. I do still expect him to play, but just keep an eye on the fact that when he's banged up, he is not as effective as a wide receiver. The Steelers are pretty well healthy, so we're going to move on to the last game of the early Sunday slate, and that's Cardinals at Washington. Now, the Cards have a few guys dealing with injuries that could affect the offense. That doesn't really look like it's going to be that good. Now, we know that Kyler Murray, he's coming back from that ACL tear. He has been placed on the PUP, so he's going to miss the first 4 games at a minimum. Zach Ertz, also coming off an ACL tear last year. He was limited on Wednesday and Thursday. Looks like he's trying to play, but the team has said they're going to slow play him, so I'm still projecting him not to play. Trey McBride going to start for the Cardinals. They also have issues at wide receiver, though. Marquise Brown, a name that a lot of people liked as the number 1 wide receiver on the offense, he's dealing with a hamstring strain. Didn't practice Wednesday, was limited on Thursday. I still think there's a good chance that he suits up, but if he misses, just avoid the Cardinals as a whole. They are going to get absolutely smoked by the Commandos. Speaking of the Commandos, their best wide receiver, Terry McLaurin, is dealing with turf toe. He's been dealing with it all preseason. He was limited on Wednesday, but he did get a full practice in on Thursday. I expect him to be healthy, and I feel confident starting him as a wide receiver 3 this week. All right, moving on to the midday slate. First game up, Packers at Bears. A little bit of a rivalry game. Love to see that in week 1. Packers dealing with some wide receiver issues, though. Christian Watson has a hamstring strain, hasn't practiced yet as of Thursday. Not looking likely that he will play on Sunday. Romeo Doubs also dealing with a hamstring strain. Didn't practice Wednesday, limited Thursday. Of the 2, I expect him to play on Sunday. I'm looking for alternatives, though, if you're planning on starting Watson, because I don't expect him to play, and I rarely trust wide receivers coming off of 2 missed practices with a hamstring strain. The Bears, they're pretty healthy. They're heading into this game ready to rock the Packers world in week 1. Next up, we got the Raiders at the Broncos. Raiders don't really have any injuries to talk about, but wide receiver Jerry Jeudy for the Broncos also has a hamstring strain, limited on Wednesday and Thursday. I still don't think it's likely that we see him on Sunday based on the timeline that we were given when he was originally injured, but at least he's practicing in some capacity. I think they're going to slow play him, expect him back in week 2 or 3. Heading over to the Dolphins at the Chargers. Dolphins wide receiver Jalen Waddle has an oblique strain. He's been limited in practice on Wednesday, but did get a full practice in on Thursday. I expect him to play. Running back Jeff Wilson Jr. does have a knee injury. He was placed on IR. So Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane are going to be the 2 running backs for the Dolphins this week. If it's up to me, I'm picking Mostert. We've seen that the rookies are not as likely to get the run in the first game of the week. Now, as for the Chargers, they're actually healthy this year for possibly the only game of the season, but we'll see what happens. We know that historically they've had pretty terrible injury luck. Moving on to the Eagles at the Patriots. Eagles are totally healthy. That's scary for everybody in the league because they are one of the best teams heading into this season. The Patriots have a couple issues at wide receiver. Devontae Parker has a knee injury. He was limited on Wednesday and Thursday. I still expect him to play, but he's going to be banged up. Wide receiver Tyquan Thornton had a shoulder issue. He was moved to IR. He's expected to miss the first 4 weeks of the season. Heading over to the Rams at the Seahawks. Rams wide receiver Cooper Kupp, probably the biggest injury news of the week in terms of seriousness. He has a hamstring strain that he re-aggravated. He's already been ruled out for Sunday. He had a setback on a hamstring injury that he had in the preseason, and that lack of a timeline has me concerned. They're not giving us a timeline for this re-aggravation. The first time we said 3 to 4 weeks, but now no timeline at all. Very concerned that the setback was serious. Prepare to be without Cooper Kupp for at least 2 to 3 weeks. but don't be surprised if he lands on IR. They are speculating that that is an option here. Rams also have their backup quarterback Stetson Bennett hurt with a right shoulder injury. He's already been ruled out as well. Going over to the Seahawks, they have Kenneth Walker III dealing with a groin strain. He was not listed on the injury report on Wednesday, limited on Thursday though. So he has taken a setback. He was dealing with this groin strain prior to this for about 2 weeks, but initial reports said that he was over it. He wasn't even listed on Wednesday, getting a limited practice in on Thursday. We're hoping that's just maintenance. I still think there's a good chance that he plays, but I am keeping an eye on it because Zach Charbonnet, very capable as a running back. The rookie could take even more work from Kenneth Walker this week if he is not at 100%. And I would have a backup plan in place just in case this groin strain lingers into the weekend and Kenneth Walker is a surprise scratch on Sunday. All right, finally, we got the last 2 games of the week, the primetime games. Sunday Night Football, we got Cowboys at the Giants. Cowboys have no major injuries to talk about, but the Giants do have wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson coming back from that ACL tear last season. He was limited on Wednesday. It does look like there's a chance that he could suit up in week 1. If he does, he's still not really playable for fantasy for me, but I am glad to see that he is healthy and made a quick recovery from that ACL tear. Last game of the week, Monday Night Football, Bills at the Jets. My game of the week. This is the best game of the slate, in my opinion. I'm really looking forward to see what happens with Aaron Rodgers, but the Bills, they don't have any injury concerns. The Jets, though, running back Breece Hall had that ACL tear last year. He was limited on Wednesday and Thursday. He is expected to play, but don't be surprised if Dalvin Cook gets a lot of run on Monday night with Breece Hall coming back from that injury. I don't expect them to try to play him a ton in week 1. All right, that's it. Every single game from week 1. If you got anybody that you think I missed, let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this format of video where we go through each and every game, give me a like on this video, okay? Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're doing this each and every week. We're trying to make it a one-stop shop for anything you want injury related. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel because we are throwing out videos each and every week. We are the most consistent fantasy football channel on YouTube, and we are here for Headliner Nation. So if you want to be part of that nation, don't be afraid to join. Become a member of Headliner Nation. Make sure you're checking out the live shows on Saturday. Jake and Kyle got a lot of good stuff heading your way from our friends at Pristine Auction. Make sure that you're watching those live shows. Make sure that you're checking out all of the videos that we're dropping each and every day on the channel. Make sure you head over to our friends at Manscaped. Use the code Headliners, get 20% off and free shipping with your first order. But that's all I got for you guys this week. I'm excited for football. I'm excited to be talking to Headliner Nation again. And the doc is out.